Hi, my name is Danny Grant. I'm going to talk to you today about diversity and organization diversity. We're going to begin with Ms. Farmer versus the University of Nevada for equal pay. Ms. Farmer was a professor at the University of Nevada who was interviewed prior to her employment, and she was an applicant, and so was an African American applicant. The African American applicant was hired over Ms. Farmer. Ms. Farmer eventually got hired by the University of Nevada, and when she got hired, she became friends with the other professor who was black. When they began talking, she found out that he was hired and was paid $10,000 more than she was. She felt that that was not fair because one reason is that fact that when she interviewed for the job, she had her degree and he was in the making of getting his degree. He was a few hours short, but he was a good candidate, even though when they compared their credentials, he was just as qualified as she was. But because he was hired over her and found out when she found out that she was making $10,000 less, she went to the head of the department chair and asked, why was she making $10,000 less for doing this basic same job? When he spoke with her, he basically told her that she was not black, and that was the reason why that the other professor was getting paid more. She felt that was being discriminated against because of for her first of all for being a Caucasian, being a female. So she sued the University of Nevada. Upon her suit, when it went to the court, the court upheld her suit and awarded her monetary for the suit. Now, she felt that she basically won, but the University of Nevada felt that that was unfair on their part because they had a few reasons why they hired the African American male over her. One reason is that when you're dealing with um, diversity, certain criteria need to be met when they're teaching students a diverse population. One population they need to meet was the African American population. So therefore, by him being an African American, he got paid more to come on board, and it was like basically an incentive. That happens often in many workplaces because in nursing, for a fact, it is also known that when a male and female nurse apply for, especially psychiatric nursing, they will usually give the male applicant more because the male applicant plays two roles. Not only that they do the nursing part, but they also can be there for managing disrupted patient. But in Ms. Farmer's case, when she felt that she won, the University of Nevada decided to take this case further up the court system. Well, the court decided to honor University of Nevada, and therefore, by reversing the decision and not paying Ms. Farmer the money, Ms. Farmer decided to have her lawyers to take this case to the Supreme Court. When the Supreme Court reviewed the case, they decided that they will uphold the lower court's decision, meaning that the lower court decided that the University of Nevada did nothing wrong by giving the black professor more money for the same position because he was black. It was not discrimination. It was based on the fact that there are certain rules and regulations that governs universities or other organizations to hire ethnic people with more money. In the case of Ms. Farmer versus the University of Nevada, that was the case. When it comes to the Watchmark Continental Corporation, they basically expanded. They outsourced and they got IBM, and by doing that, they became a mega company. By being a mega company, they were basically able to broaden their spectrum, outsource things out for the country. They can stay in the United States and then go abroad. This was a good move on their part because now they had more control of the internet, the wireless service, and all this stuff. They basically took it from the what I call the mainstream to the handset. So therefore, they will have more control in the um, marketing for the internet, wireless system, and those things like that. That was a good move on their part. So therefore, they went ahead and expanded their company. And basically, this is what some of the companies today is doing the same thing. If you go back and think about Time Warner trying to merge with AT&T, and the reason why it's being blocked because they basically will have market on the cable network if they were allowed to have AT&T and Time Warner Cable. So when Walmart did this, they did a great thing for their company by diversifying their resources to get more into the marketing of infrastructure. When comparing the United States to Canada, this is very interesting when you compare Canada to the United States because of the fact that Canada has 4 protective groups of people that they protect. One is women, the other one is Aboriginal people, people with disabilities, and visible minorities. You would think that African Americans play a role in visible minorities, and actually in Canada they do not. Whereas in Canada, if a gay person, well, I would say gay, LBGT, you can basically discriminate, but not discriminate. They can not hire you because of your sexual orientation, because your sexual orientation is not a group of people that is protected under the laws in Canada. Whereas in the United States, discrimination is upheld on the federal level. And whereas in Canada, discrimination is upheld based on the providence of where you're located at. So in one area, for instance, I would use my state for example. For the state of South Carolina, if this was Canada, certain things that wouldn't be covered in the state of South Carolina would be covered in Canada, or vice versa. Meaning that in the United States, the government states that a school cannot basically not accept me based on my color, the fact that I'm a male. Whereas in Canada, the federal government does not regulate that. The providence of where you're at regulates that for Canada. So that makes Canada different than the United States. Where we are at in getting ahead in life, you think that sometimes that because of the way the United States does things is good, but actually it's not always that way. We find out that by comparing the United States to Canada, how the difference in laws and how the difference in employment, equality, diversity, it makes a difference. We are in a good place when it comes to working, when it comes to discrimination. I guess I should say the laws against discrimination. So to wrap this up in a nutshell is that when we talk about diversity, it is a tool that we use to make sure that everybody is treated equally upon the law in the United States. Thank you.